What is Formula One? You tell me. Guys, I only know, the only thing I know about this sport is that Lewis Hamilton participates in it. And also, there's this guy that used to reign when I was growing up. I think, what was that his name? Michael something. Michael Schumacher. Yeah, Schumacher. I hope I'm getting his name correctly. Those are the only two things I know about this sport. The players, okay, I think I've heard some of that guy's name before. Is it Fernando Alonso? I've heard about that name before. Then there's another name that I've heard that I think the surname ends with Rossi, something like that. Those are the only things I know about this sport. I actually would enjoy this kind of sports because it involves driving, and though I'm not really a car person or a car freak, it's something that I could probably enjoy watching. Seeing people drive, almost it's kind of dangerous kind of driving where you don't know what could happen and things could get awry. If you are new here, please help me out, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Let's get right into it.
Over the course of the next 66 laps. Max Verstappen is champion of the world!
You've been hearing about F1 too, right? Cool, let's talk about it.
Formula One racing into Miami for the first time.
The hottest ticket in town.
Hooked on Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive. Drive to Survive.
This is a car race at over 200 miles an hour in cities all over
200 miles an hour.
Bahrain Grand Prix here in Monaco.
with insanely famous drivers.
Daniel Ricciardo. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world.
And
Lewis Hamilton, yeah.
100-person teams. Racing cars so advanced that they're practically spaceships. And so expensive that they had to make a rule that teams couldn't spend more than $140 million.
Guys,
And
wait. Like, why is there a rule for that? Okay, I know, okay, rules are not that out of the question. I mean, in other sports, you have things like salary cap and all that. So, okay, I understand. Rules have to be made. If not, people are just going to do things out of the ordinary.
it's only getting bigger. Just look at this. This is from a construction camera at one of two new US racetracks. This one's in Miami. This cost $40 million to build. And it hosted nearly 250,000 people over 3 days. That's a Super Bowl worth of people every day. And one of
Wow,
them
people like the
was
sports like that.
It's the first ever Miami
look at
Grand
her.
Prix. We're racing in the States and it's lights out, away we go.
Oh,
I just,
what the hell? What did I just see?
But
Okay, Tom Brady, David. Okay. Wow. Wait, Brady is this tall? What? Guys, Brady is almost as tall as Michael Jordan. I thought Brady was like, what, 6'2"? What the hell? Damn. I mean, this is the most shocking thing I've seen so far now in this video is, in this Formula One video, is NFL player. It's funny.
I just love F1. But a lot of people, because of all this hype, they're hearing about it right now for the first time. And they're feeling a little bit,
I don't understand.
So let's get into it. This is F1 explained for rookies. What you need to know to keep up with this
I'm a rookie.
crazy, expensive sport that everyone's suddenly obsessed with.
Lewis Hamilton!
Verstappen holds it!
It's done!
But it's also a look at the bigger question here, the huge question, which is, why do this? Like, why pour so much money, so much technological effort into F1, into entertainment? The answer is in what we get in return. This isn't just a car race. This is a space program for the road.
General growth in interest.
Space program for the road.
It's becoming much more of a thing here in the States.
Monaco Grand Prix. Win the Italian.
Guys, what's the difference between F1 and NASCAR? I mean, like every time I see, I've come across these videos before. Like, obviously, I've seen F1. I've come across. So I've always been thinking, like, I hear NASCAR. It still looks like this. So, like, what's the difference? It's like, okay, anyway, I think I'll have to watch a different video for that because I'm actually thinking what's the difference because it just looks the same to me.
Grand Prix. Bahrain Grand Prix.
If you're new to F1, you might know its American cousins. NASCAR has the least family disciplines. Closed cockpits, oval tracks.
You see?
IndyCar and F1. look
Indies.
more
I've heard that one
got
too.
The spaghetti-looking track, open cockpits. But there's one really important difference between these two.
Okay.
And it's the reason why F1 specifically is such a big deal. In IndyCar, all of the cars use the same frame, or chassis, the DW12. So the competition here is mostly in how you race that car. But in
Okay.
F1, every team has to design and manufacture their own cars. The best
Oh,
part is that they get to improve the cars between each race, or not.
What the
depending
hell?
on how they do. So the
That's
competition
interesting.
in F1 actually centers around the car itself, not just how you race it, but also how you build it and rebuild it again and again.
wow. Okay.
This is why I love F1. It looks
Okay.
like the sport of
I can-
animals, but much more than that. It's the sport of nerds. Okay, each team races 2 cars, so 2 drivers for the same team. Each event, or Grand Prix, is 3 days: practice, qualifying, and race day.
Okay.
I watch these on TV every time they're on, but this was the first time I ever got to see it in person.
To see the car up close, that was awesome. Now I am inside the Mercedes garage.
Truly, I have never had more fun at a sporting event and seen less of what was actually going on.
So right now they're about to do a practice pit.
Here's how this works. The order of who does the fastest lap on qualifying day becomes the lineup at the starting line on race day. And passing isn't easy, so where you start is a really big deal. Depending on where drivers finish, they get different numbers of points. After 10th place, no points for you. Drivers want to get the most points themselves to win something called the Drivers' Championship.
Max
But
Verstappen.
teams want to get the most points total to win the Constructors'
Oh,
Championship.
wait. So the vehicles also win championships. Oh god, that is hilarious. So guys, I mean that is crazy. Seriously, like vehicles also win championships as well. Okay, okay, I get that because so in that scenario, the vehicle companies will have to also work very, very hard to provide the drivers with, you know, the perfect kind of vehicles, right? So, okay. That is fun.
And actually kind of makes for funny mismatched incentives sometimes. You can hear it on the radio when teams have one strategy, like they want to let drivers pass each other, and drivers get really mad about that.
If he's quicker, we let 3. That's very unfair, but okay.
But generally, everybody agrees about the big things, which are drivers, race your fastest. Teams, make the best car.
Wow.
All right,
This is interesting.
here's the fun part.
Lego is here. Hey, kids, look.
There's my driver. Hello, Lewis Hamilton. Think of an F1 car like an airplane upside down. Both meant to move as quickly through the air as possible, right? But where
Okay.
an airplane's wings work to lift it up, these cars' wings work to keep it down. Why? Because winning doesn't just depend on going fast. It also depends on keeping control. And that requires a firm grip on the ground. Take a look at the shape of this car. Now watch how the air moves across it. See how some goes above the wing and some squeezes the long way underneath it?
Wow.
That creates a situation where there's higher pressure above and lower pressure below, sucking the car toward the ground. That's actually happening all over the car, not just on the wings. And we can talk for hours about the
This is
design,
interesting, man.
how they shape and
This is
move in the air.
some nice mechanical
Some
engineering
air in
stuff.
through the car to cool it down. You can actually see there's a hole there.
Wow.
Trying to imply that on my Lego model. Some actually let the driver release air, lessening that downward pressure and allowing them to go faster in order to pass. It's kind of like a Mario boost.
Wow.
You can actually hear
Okay.
this in a race. Listen for DRS here.
Now, Charles Leclerc is going to have DRS to try and fight it back.
Taken together, an F1 car is just a symphony of aerodynamics. I actually got to see them up close and personal when I was in Miami.
We're going there.
I absolutely did not keep my cool. You can see teams perfecting these cars over the years.
Wow.
Understanding the need for wings and adding them and changing the shape and pushing our understanding of aerodynamics to shave off just fractions of a second. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of people work on this, all for one team. So, how much does this cost?
Okay.
F1 teams don't really want to share the details here, so there's a lot of speculation. But they're also companies, and some of them have to file their financials somewhere. So with a little bit of research into various European countries' reporting requirements, hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Here they are. Annual reports for every F1 team I could find, which is actually 8 out of 10, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
It's pretty good.
As a fan, this is kind of cool. Like, look, this is Toto Wolff's signature. What I learned from all this is that running an F1 team, as a fan, this is kind of cool. Like, look, this is Toto Wolff's signature.
Mercedes team principal, big deal.
What I learned from all this is that running an F1 team costs anywhere from $95 million to $425 million.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
What the hell?
But the year after these were filed, F1 instituted a new rule saying all
Is this-
teams were only allowed
is
to
it per
spend
year?
$140 million. So these reports are going to look a lot different for this next coming year.
Oh, good.
Still a lot. No matter what, F1 teams spend a ton of money. So what do they make?
I mean, that
These
is actually
reports
good because it's very good that they put that limit, because if that limit is not there, these companies will go crazy to just be doing a lot of innovations, and it's instead of it being a sport, to now turn into something else. So it's very, very good that they put that limit.
F1 teams make approximately nothing. They run surprisingly close to break even. Red Bull, for example, made $230 million in revenue, and then add these two up, $229 million in costs. And they ended up with approximately $1.2 million in profit. This
What
is
the
in
hell?
dollars, actually, so that's $1.5 million. These aren't the wildly profitable enterprises I was
So why are they doing it?
So why do they do it? Well, take a look at this. This is the Ferrari annual report. Our brand image depends in part on the success of our Formula One racing team. The racing team is a key component of our marketing strategy.
Okay.
Advertising.
Advertising.
Wow.
It's great.
They use F1 to sell
AdSense.
stuff, whether that's luxury sports cars or a sports drink.
Red Bull gives you.
I mean, as entertainment, F1 is incredible. But a lot of people do feel that it's somewhat wasteful.
How much does a Formula One car cost?
$400 million.
Is it worth all that money?
This is bigger than F1. It's kind of crazy to think about how much work we as a species put into entertaining ourselves. But I think what makes F1 feel particularly acute for some people is the technology element here.
Yeah.
All of this engineering work and all of this energy being spent on 20 fossil fuel reliant cars makes people wonder sometimes if that energy might be better spent elsewhere.
Like literally anywhere else.
But F1 is more than just entertainment. It's better thought of actually as one giant experiment. F1 pushes everything to the extreme. What do you need to create to compete at this level, to keep control at these speeds?
At under 140 million.
These conditions. The idea is that the technology that they build ends up trickling down to all of us non-race car drivers.
Yeah.
My question was, is this actually true, or does it just
Actually, it
sound
sounds true to me.
I wanted to find specific car parts that were developed for F1 and then ended up in my car. But the more research I did, the more complicated it got. People often talk about paddle shifters, for example, but those were actually developed decades before F1. F1 teams just made them better. Same for active suspension, anti-lock brakes, traction control. What I found was that F1 was less trickle-down and more flywheel. F1 combines technologies that might already exist and then pushes them to an extreme, making them better in the process and then inspiring, or literally manufacturing, better tech for all of us. For example, take thermal efficiency, the percentage of energy from combustion that actually makes the car go, as opposed to being lost to heat. Most combustion road cars have a thermal efficiency between 20 and 30%, which means only a third of the energy actually makes the car go. F1 cars can't refuel during a race, so there's a very strong incentive for them to be efficient. They're at about 50% now, thanks to new hybrid engines, gains that have been dragging the rest of the car industry forward. Or data collection. Sensors on F1 cars collect huge amounts of information and then feed it back to the driver and the team. They didn't invent a lot of these systems, but they use them in ways that they've never been used before. And that's actually getting more and more important as we move potentially towards self-driving cars. This is the real promise of F1, and it all stems from that original requirement to build their own cars. Basically, we'll do all of this research and development, and we'll create new technologies and also combine all of the cutting-edge tech, and we'll push it to its limits and develop it further, and you don't even need to pay for it. We'll race these things against other groups of engineers doing exactly the same thing.
I mean, this guys, think about it. Think about it. She's actually very, very right, because these companies now, they'll be trying to obviously to spend under $140 million, and due to trying to stay under that threshold, they'll be innovating and innovating and innovating. So each of these companies, the big top companies, actually, I'm actually very, very surprised that it's top companies that are involved in this, like Mercedes, Ferrari, and the rest of it. So you have these companies competing with each other in the sports, and also trying to be under the $140 million. That's actually creates a lot of innovation, because you have to try and innovate, try to keep up with your competition. So I think it's true. It's actually very, very beneficial to the society, what these people are doing, because they're barely making any money, but obviously for their, which in turn would help in advancements in technology. I think she's very, very right here.
This crazy round-the-world sport that lots of people really love, that is actually, at the end of the day, the biggest, most expensive group project science competition of all time.
Yeah.
People debate whether or not we should spend money on lots of our efforts to learn. And yet, they consistently push forward both the tech that we actually use and our understanding of the world around us. In this case, it also makes some money, and it's fun to watch. I think once you see the promise of F1, it allows you to think differently about lots of things. We need people working far beyond the edge.
Yeah.
Pulling forward the limits of what we can do.
Yes.
The question now is, what do we need to learn next? If F1 pushes forward car innovation and the future of cars is electric, does F1 need to get more electric too? And if F1 doesn't get more electric, does it get farther and farther from its original promise over time? Less applicable to the technology that we use and more a novelty. Oh, let's go watch those cars that use gas. I don't know. Now you're up to speed. You can watch a race, you can enjoy it with your friends, and you can also speculate, like the rest of us, where it's all gonna go. I'll be watching with you, and I'll be rooting for my favorite team.
Mercedes. Wow, this was really interesting. I never actually saw it that way, in terms of it being like a science experiment. But watching this video, I actually think it's more of a science experiment than a sport. Seriously. And the sport looks interesting. It's something that I think I may enjoy. But I think the benefits, in terms of benefits to the society, I think these companies pushing each other to the limits and trying to keep innovating and going to as high a limit as possible when it comes to science, I think is very, very beneficial to every one of us, even if you are not interested in the sports. I hope you enjoyed it with me. If you did, please help me out, hit that like button. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.